Coding Rook here, recording. Hello, welcome back. Video 2 of Chrono RPG development. One thing, if anybody out there is trying to see these videos ever, replicating what I'm doing, remember that when you try to reload the editor in your game, you gotta go and it will give you some errors. CDO, constructor helpers, blah blah blah. It will tell you in in your game mode CPP file. In my case, named Chrono RPG game mode, because that's the name I gave to my project. When you change the blueprint of your character, if you change his name and his location, you gotta remember and go back to Chrono game mode, to Chrono RPG game mode, or whatever name you have, game mode.cpp, and change that directory and name. So you gotta do that, otherwise you will not compile. So I did that and it succeeded. So now let me just load my game, my project rather. It's not a game yet. And hopefully we should be fine. There you go. All right, well, fine. It's failing to load some of the textures, which is odd because I fixed all the redirectors and stuff. So the materials, textures, so all the textures are messed up. All right, fine. And the material layers, material expression. All right, cool. Let's do all that. Let's do that. I think this is it. Right. I don't remember how to fix this, guys. I'm gonna need to see the default project. I mean, this is annoying because I thought I did all the redirectors. Missing input textures. I'm gonna wing it now. I'm gonna go with this is the main. This is the main texture, so I'm gonna go with.
As a matter of fact, for what it's worth, Grammarly can. Yeah, that's long. We can get rid of that. And this, good. And this, or how about this? Yep. Grammarly helps you be concise. If your tone might make someone feel like this.
And I'm gonna go with a normal map.
Grammarly can remind you. It would help if you soften your tone.
Apply.
And if you need the support, Grammarly encourages you to write comments.
Sorry for the delay.
We all communicate, the better we connect. Grammarly, helping you connect. Go to Grammarly.com and download today.
this is the chest logo. Okay, this is the material. The normal map. Okay, okay. Also, I gotta go under project settings, and then under maps and modes. There you go. Relink all that. All right. I have not, I guess, wired up all properly. I may do it offline. Gonna have to go back and look up this guy's proper linking up of the materials and the textures. Anyway, I don't care about that for now. Let's do what I intended to show you guys, and show you how I set up the some of my classes. Now, I wanted to create a class of interactables, objects, props basically, and little objects that the character can interact with. For example, if he's picking stuff up using the grabbing ability, for example, or other actions that the character may be taking using stuff. And it's going to require a component as well. And I'm going to show you, and it will become apparent what I mean. The objects will contain a component that will basically define what kind of interaction the player can do with them, right? So let's go ahead and let's just close this. It didn't work. Yeah, logo. Oh, I thought that worked, but who knows? I thought I had the right thing. So let's go and create a new class here. I'm gonna create a new actor type. I'm gonna call it interactable prop. I'll call it base, because other classes are going to derive from it. I mean, sometimes I get into the habit of calling stuff base, and some other times I don't. I don't know. Let's see if I can be consistent. Interactable prop base. Okay, that sounds correct. Compiling. Compiling. There you go. All right. Interactable prop base. Excellent. My copyright and everything all shows up. Cool. Cool. Let's get into the habit of doing some actor props objects that the player can interact within the world. All right. All right. What I'm going to do now is create some protected member fields for this class and its children. So every interactable thing in the world will have a mesh, right? So it's going to have a static mesh. So it's going to be a static mesh component for this actor. So static mesh component. Conveniently, Visual Studio helps us. That's why I like Visual Studio for now. So I'm going to call it prop mesh. It's going to be a U property. It's going to be visible anywhere. I don't want this to be tampered with by the user, i.e. me or any other designer, either me or anyone else in the future. So I've noticed this. Beats me if I know what exactly it does. I need to look it up. Copy at your own peril, but it works. All right, so we have a prop mesh field here for this class that basically represents the static mesh of this object, of this prop. And then I'm going to create a trigger around it. A trigger that will basically help us, I guess, detect the player. And it will prompt an action, like it will visually like tell the player, hey, like you can grab this, you can hit this, you can, I don't know, break it or pull it up or pull down the lever or whatever it might be, switch on the lights or whatnot. I'm gonna call it interaction trigger. I'm gonna copy some of the above actually. I'm gonna give it a category. Category equals interaction trigger. And it's going to be a U sphere component. It's going to be something that surrounds the object. Interaction trigger. That's what I'm calling it. It doesn't help me here. Identify it. I wonder if I have to forward declare it. I probably need to include components, maybe. All right, well, I may need to include components here. Include components, sphere component. Other times I didn't have to. Actually, no. I think better practice is to just forward declare it here. Where is it? There you go. And include it in the source file when we need it. So I'm just gonna go here later and include that before I forget. Okay, so we declare this baby. Now name this prop for the interaction in text in text prompt. All right, we're gonna give this name. So it's gonna be a U property. Let's make it edit defaults only, so you can only do this once in the blueprint. Category equals, let's call this, this may be for the widget actually, widget setup. Because we're gonna create widgets to show the name of the things that the character is trying to interact with. Why does it indent like that all the time? I guess it's confused with the U property macros up there. Okay. Okay, so all right. Let's do some getters now. Let's see. I'm gonna return. This is weird. I don't understand why the editor starts with public here, then protect, and then public again. So what I usually end up doing is after the constructor, I move all the begin plays or all the ticks up here again. There you go. So that's not necessary. All right, now, well, we can return the mesh, right? So let's do a U function. It's gonna be blueprint pure. Category equals mesh. And then it's gonna return a U static mesh component, which was recognized in the beginning, but not the sphere component, I guess. Get mesh, it's a constant. And you know what? Let's inline this puppy. Why are you screwing up my indentation? There you go. used to do this automatically. It must be a new way that I have had a different experience with another version of Visual Studio, whereby this inline was just neatly just done in one line. And you know what? I still prefer it in one line. Don't just mess with me. Oh, guys, apologies. That's what was wrong the whole time. Return. Prop mesh. It's gonna be a long night. And it's still doing this bloody automatic. Some stupid shitting that. Then what else? We need to return the interaction trigger itself. Just in case we need that. I don't remember actually needing them, but anyway, I'm gonna provide them here for you and for me. Once again. Category goals. There it is. It's doing it now, correctly. I think I had to do, I think I was doing return or enter rather than tab. Anyway, I'm gonna do the same for the name. And actually I'm gonna call that widget because the name, it's only important for the widget. Okay. It's gonna be an F text. Get prop a name const as well. Return prop name, was it? What did I call it? There you go. And I think this is it for now. I actually like this very dark coal type of color. It's very menacing like that. Right, we We're gonna see a lot of these in the beginning. Oh, my usual category or category error. Yeah, I cannot count how many times I've done this. Category, okay. Compile this baby. I've done it. Oh yeah, of course, because I because I copied it over. Silly me. Silly me. Let's see. Let's see. That's done. All right, so now I'm gonna create a component, right? And that component is gonna be used by these actor props objects that the player interacts with. So I'm gonna do another C++ class, and this one is gonna be of actor component. Next, I'm gonna call it interaction component base. Let's make more space. All right, so once again, I need to move this silliness under public. Don't understand why it does that. Don't understand why that. I don't know if it's a bug or just annoying. And we can delete that. We don't need that. All right, so this is our component. We're going to create, I'm going to create a virtual, not a virtual, but a virtual void execute interaction. This is how it works. Let me forward declare the chrono RPG class. And we're gonna call the guy the instigator. He's the one that's instigating the interaction or initiating it or whatever. I just like the instigator term. And that's gonna be executed in code. And now for the widget purposes, I'm gonna create a function that returns the interaction. I'm fast forwarding here a little bit. So similarly to the name prop name with an f text that we gave to the object, we're going to have to give the interaction a name, so that when the widget pops up, it says like, you know, pick up the object or grab it or light the switch, or, you know, it's the verb, it's the action. And because I know I've used this before, and like I warned you guys, some of these things will be obvious to me because I've done it before. There's going to be alternative texts in some instances, so there's going to be two of them. Category equals widget, and I forgot the assignment here. Stop indenting when I don't want you to. So what is the, I guess, what is the main text? Component prompts the player with. If not setting code, remember to set in blueprint. A U property. Let's make this visible anywhere. But we're gonna set it in code when we can. Right, this is gonna be an F text, and we called it interaction text because we have a get interaction text above. Secondary interaction text. All right, this is what I have for this thing. I'm thinking I left something out. All right, so let's code interaction, execute interaction, right? So we have this function here. This is the first one we define. And actually, let me move. So I want to keep the same order. So we have the constructor first and then the tick component. The constructor, begin play on one component first. Because begin play is further on, isn't it? Yep. It's protected one. Okay. Alright, so I enjoy this process where it just does it for me. Technically, this one does not have to have too much in it because I'm going to derive from it and create other specific interactions. Like there's going to be an interaction for, you see later in the game, I light up some fire. So there's going to be interactions for like handling fire, interactions for picking up and grabbing stuff and carrying stuff. This one started empty in the beginning and it was just a virtual, as you saw, that could be overridden and extended. But I still have some things I can put in here. I'm going to create an event, something that notifies, I guess, the owning prop actor that it was interacted with, that the player actually did something. So let's actually go back and define it in interactable prop base H. And it's going to be a protected one, I think. No, it has to be public actually. Yeah, public. Okay. So it's gonna be a U function. It's gonna be blueprint callable. I've defined it as a blueprint native event. And category equals interaction. And we're gonna call it on was interacted with. And like I said, this may not make sense to you, but I created another one. If an interaction allows it, it can be re-enabled once the player has just done something once, or left the prop or whatever. So we have to find a way to re-enable it. So we have to find a way to tell the prop, the owner of the component, that, you know what, like, you can be interacted with again because things have been reset now. So I'm gonna do that. And then you're gonna see what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna create this definition real quickly, but I'm not gonna keep it like that. Because these are native events in Blueprint. I'm gonna do implementation. Visual Studio may not like it, but it works. And so we go back to our component now. And we say now we're gonna have to get the instance of our player. Da, 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 da. Well, not yet. So let's get the owner actually. So if a interactable prop base owner prop, and we need to do this. We need to include a interactable prop base h. Lowercase. So let's cast again with a interactable prop base. Oh. And let's get the owner. Oh, did it again. There you go. There you go. That's why it wasn't populating correctly. On was interacted with. There you go. It found it. Execute that. So as a default, I guess, the superclass is going to just say that we notify our owning prop or actor, or I mean, it's an actor. We notify them that they have been interacted with. That's the idea here. All right, so we can just do. We're finished with that. This actually should be get interaction text. Right. And that's done. You know what, guys? I'm not being consistent, actually. I'm not being consistent. So let me just delete that from here. I'm not being consistent. If this is just a return, right, it's in blueprint pure, then let's just do const and do a return interaction text. Done. And do the same thing for this guy here. Alternative interaction text. And then I think this is it, or most of it. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. Let's see if this puppy compiles. Good. Now, I also left a bit of another thingy here. In the interactable prop base, I have a pointer that stores the reference to its component, basically, right? I don't have anything like that yet. We need to be able to return our component.
These days, people are wondering how and when the global economy will recover from its current downturn. While no one can predict the future, eToro
All right, so let's do that.
look for insights by seeing how the markets reacted to health crises in the past. As you can see here, after an initial drop, the markets...
The way I've done it is
Short-term dips tended to be followed by a continuation of upward trends. For example, after a break in 2000,
we're gonna have several derived classes from this one, right?
rose 18% in 6 months.
So in Blueprint, we get, for each object, you're gonna have to pick, I guess, what class interaction you want. So it's gonna be a T subclass of the interaction for this prop. It's gonna be a U property.
Join the conversation on eToro, the world's leading social trading network.
I selected once from Blueprint for everyone. Category equals interaction. And it's gonna be our interaction component base. And it's the interaction class that you need to and that's the class, and we need the and so I call it command, but it's basically like, you know, what is the action here? I can just say interaction command. Like what are you commanding the player to do when he approaches that object, that prop, right? So it's going to be a U property. I made it visible anywhere so that I can kind of observe it in the editor as well. Category again equals interaction. And it's going to be an interaction component, base, pointer, and let's just call it interaction command. Right. So all right. So interactable. I'm surprised it lets me use the class's name. I haven't declared it anywhere yet, have I? That's odd.
Being on the front line means that we see the effects of COVID-19.
We need anybody and everybody who's had some experience in a healthcare setting to come and help us at this difficult time.
Delivery numbers are massively up at the minute, so demand's high, resources are low.
If you are a nurse and you are thinking about it, I would without any hesitation come back, because we do need the help from
Okay, well,
fellow nurses out there.
what I need to do now is finish setting up the constructor for the prop, for the prototype of a prop. So we set the ticking to true, and then we'll say prop mesh. We're going to create a default sub-object. It's going to be a view static mesh component. We're going to call it prop mesh. And then I think what we need to do is set it up to be the right? The mesh is the root component. Why doesn't it like that? Ah, scene component. I forget. Do I cast it? I have an alternative way of doing this. I'm gonna do prop mesh. What's your problem now? Pointer to incomplete class type is uncompatible. Because I don't have the static mesh. It's funny that it doesn't complain here or here. There you go. It finally complained. It finally complained. Cool. Okay. Okay. I guess I will have to forward declare it. And then I'm going to include my interaction component base H as well.
Mom was forced to just get out of a situation that wasn't the safest. Education is really important to me.
Right, so
and it is
that
for my
we
mom.
have this.
I didn't know how to ask for help. I just want other people to have a place that they can go to and talk to each other.
Interaction trigger. Equals say
We are on
create
the edge of Skid Row, where poetry
default
met me
subobject.
back in 2000.
Justin Bieber. Nope. Thank you. Moving on. Da, 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 da.
My mama doesn't trust him. He's only here for one thing, but a little bit older, a black leather jacket, a bad reputation, insatiable habits. He was on to me, one look and I couldn't breathe. Yeah. I said if you kiss me, I might let it happen.
All right, so we're just gonna give it a default value. In terms of how big it is around the object. And we're gonna make it belong to the prop mesh. Let's set up a name. I'm gonna actually name it unnamed because it will be very obvious during testing in the editor if I haven't named the object yet. All right, what else do we have? Interactable properties. Did I do get interaction trigger? Yeah, it is this one. Something to return, obviously, the interaction command. That's very useful. I'm gonna do it here before the events.
Things are difficult for many small businesses right now.
To relieve some of the pressure,
We're making everyday banking free
For our business banking customers,
for the annual turnover of up to £250,000.
Won't pay interest or fees on your agreed overdraft.
Ah, damn, forgive the ads, guys. Oh, that's why, because I usually, there you go, I usually forward declare it here. That's why, so it's not necessary over here, because I do the getters first. Right. And so that returns the interaction command. Right. The last thing I want to do now is actually create those interactions. So the point is that in Blueprint, you specify what class deriving from your interaction component base you want the interaction of this prop to be. And in Begin Play, you actually create it. So you call super first, and then, let's see, set up the interaction component. Let's just make sure that we have it first. Otherwise, it's a big problem. So print the name of the specific actor whose interaction class you haven't specified, right? Else. Our interaction command is going to be a new object of class U, interaction component base. Now I've looked this up. You have to provide like who's calling this, or who's instigating this, or who's the wrapper of this. I don't know. It's just best to do this. And then let's provide the class of what we have selected. And I think it's prudent to say that what's going on here? Why is this? Oh, it's a why isn't this working? Interaction command equals new object. Yeah, I can always try to run it. Ah, no, that's not, we don't need a pointer here. The tsap class of interaction class. That's all we need to say here. Why did I create a pointer? I don't know, it didn't make sense. Thank God for the visual cues of Visual Studio, huh? And so I think the prudent thing to do is, if indeed interaction command, if everything happened correctly, interaction command register component. I think we should be all set. No issues found. Okay, so let's see what happens. So now we have our prop superclass and our interaction component superclass. Of course there was an error. How can that be? Oh, now I'm missing a pointer? Ah. Class interaction base pointer. Come on, compiler, you're embarrassing me in front of my millions of viewers. Line 62, whatever, okay.
I was so insatiable till the lights came on and the stories got old. Now there's no one here I know, and the city outside's not the same anymore. And I remember when we were young.
Oh boy, where was this? Window, developers, output. Interactable prop base H62, missing equals invariable. Was it in H? Yeah. Thank you. All right. Oh, why did I delete that? Let's put that there. It's always useful to have. There you go. And let's just make this a little bit, and these guys a little bit smaller. And compiled. All right. Let's create a folder here. Props. And within props, blueprints. New folder. Blueprints. And let's quickly test this before ending this video. A new blueprint class, and I want it to inherit from interactable prop base. And I'm gonna call it PP interactable prop. And there you go. We have a prop mesh, which we can do anything. Interaction trigger. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Cool. We can't do anything with it yet because I haven't done the widgets. The famous UMG. Let me see if the categories are fine. Widget setup. Unnamed. Yeah, there's no name yet. Interaction class. We don't have interaction class yet. So I'm guessing if I did a let's say I did a okay, so that's fine. That's fine. And then let's do another blueprint. PP test cube. And let's call it test cube. Compile. Let's do interaction class. Well, we don't have anything else at the moment. And the mesh should be, let's do the chamfer. Excellent. Very nice. Let me do this before I forget. New windows. I want them to open up. Actually, is it project settings or editor preferences? I think it's editor preferences. Appearance. Asset editor. Open location in main window. So that's default. Yes. Okay. Cool. And in the next few videos, we will have a functionality where when this guy approaches, text pops up, you can interact with it, do stuff with it. Cool. Now, for example, if I come here, and this, for this specific cube, let's look for interaction. Just want to test this. Interaction. Oh, it's at a default only, isn't it? Yeah, okay, so if I go back to this guy here. So say, for example, that I created an asset and I forgot to pick the class. And I had done none. Compiled. Saved everything. If I try to play now, boom, you have not specified an interaction component class. Gotcha. Stop. Okay, cool. So that's why I put this, so that I always remember. Save everything. Play. Boom, no errors. It works. Cool. And in the next video or videos, we will add stuff to this. Programming interaction on this. We will derive from interaction component base and be able to execute that. I'm gonna have to do inputs as well. I haven't even thought about that yet. I mean, I have, but like I just need to show you guys how I've done it. It's already done in the other project. Anyway, so yeah, cool. I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you later, I guess. This is Coding Rook, signing out.